As many of you will know by now, Telltale Games has closed its doors. Telltale Games is basically dead because it turns out mismanaging your company and having a toxic work environment isn't conducive to long-term success. By far the shittiest aspect of the whole Telltale situation is the fact that over 200 employees were laid off and didn't get any severance despite being made to work very long hours. Telltale Games was a company that loved crunch periods. It had people working till 3 AM right up until the last moment when management knew the company was going under, basically, and was still having people work round the friggin' clock. Well, this situation is gonna get uglier before it gets prettier, especially following news that a class action lawsuit has been filed against Telltale, alleging that they violated labour laws. Vernie Roberts filed the lawsuit on behalf of himself and fellow laid-off employees. It alleges that they were let go without cause and without advanced written notice, which the WARN Act, the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, requires of employers. If a business has at least 100 full-timers on its staff, then those full-timers must be notified 60 days in advance if a company's going under or if there's going to be a whole round of layoffs. If 50 or more employees are let go within a month, then the WARN Act requires employees get warned. The employees in this class action lawsuit want their back pay and their benefits. If Telltale loses, they would have to pay 60 days worth of these benefits and pay. Telltale may be able to defend itself by saying that it couldn't have predicted the closure, that the business circumstances were not reasonably foreseeable. That's how they can get out of it. Telltale were hoping for a cash infusion, and it's alleged that they were looking to Lionsgate for this, but it's not been confirmed. But whoever it was that was going to give them a big wad of money pulled out, which caused Telltale to begin the process of shutting down, and that speaks to inept management on their part that they were surviving based on whether or not companies like Lionsgate could give them big stacks of cash. But in any case, they could say, well, we couldn't have predicted it, so we couldn't have warned people. That's under the federal version of the WARN Act. In California, however, this clause for unforeseeable circumstances isn't there. Considering this lawsuit was filed in San Francisco, this puts Telltale in a bit of a dodgy place. Whether it has the money to give any of the employees if it loses, that's another matter altogether, but the company could very well be on the hook. Whatever happens, this speaks to the sort of legacy that Telltale is going to leave behind. When a company is closed down by a publisher that bought it out, we often lament about the workers, as we are right to, and we often lament about the games that were lost or we'll never see again. The legacy of a company like Bullfrog Games being shuttered is its games. We think of Dungeon Keeper, Theme Hospital. And on some level, of course, Telltale's legacy will include The Walking Dead, Tales from the Borderlands, Minecraft, what have you. But that's going to be forever overshadowed, I feel. It's going to have the cloud of Telltale's terrible business practices hanging over it. And by all accounts, it should. That's what should be remembered from Telltale. That should be the lesson learned. The industry at large ain't gonna learn it, but that should be the lesson here, is treat your fucking workers well. At this point, I feel no need, no desire even, to think fondly of Telltale and its history. With everything that's come out about the company both before and after its closure, I've got no sympathy for it. I have no sympathy for Telltale Games as an entity. I have endless sympathy for the employees who were dicked over by dreadful, stupid, short-sighted management, but Telltale as an entity got what it deserved for making its employees work obscene hours and for being so inept it had to jettison most of its employees without giving them any severance. The employees didn't deserve that, but Telltale Games as an entity, as a company, deserves everything it's got fucking coming to it. Whether this particular lawsuit will get any money, any justice, anything for the employees remains to be seen, but this is, in my opinion, what Telltale Games should be remembered for, what it did to its workers. Because the way it laid off its staff was a dick move. That's not how you do that. Without warning, without compensation, without filing proper bankruptcy procedures first. It speaks to what we seem to be learning about Telltale as a whole. Its management was crap. garbage, didn't know what it was bloody doing. Telltale's games love to remind us that characters will remember that, and that's what I'm gonna remember about Telltale. Its ineptitude and the way it genuinely fucked over almost all of its employees. At the end of the day, whether you believe Telltale has the money or not to pay its workers, those workers did their jobs. They did the work, they did the labour, and they're owed fucking money. As far as I'm concerned, and especially the way Telltale did things, they stole labour from over 200 people. I'll probably be talking a lot more about the way the industry treats its workers on an upcoming Jimquisition, but even by the standards of the game industry, what Telltale did was beyond the pale. And the game industry treats developers pretty bloody shabbily. So it says a lot that this company, a company many thought were on the up and up, a company many thought were the good guys, would do something that even AAA publishers would look at and think, oh, that's not on. Ooh, it's fucking shambles. I hope at some point the employees get what they deserve and that Telltale's management ultimately gets what they deserve.